perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Faith and Freedom. I'm Shemane Nugent. My co-host today is my husband, Ted. Welcome, Ted.
I am blathered. I am schnookered. I am whacked. I am absolutely stoned on the spirit of the wild. Happy October, everybody. By the way, Shemane,
What?
I love you.
I love you too.
All right, here we go. Faith and freedom. Faith, freedom, and venison backstraps forever. Did I say happy October, everybody? What a glorious time of year.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And
why not?
You always make me smile, and you always bring so much energy.
You want the happiest moment of your life?
Well, I know that
Jackson, Sadie, and Coco are the greatest bird hunting dogs in the world, and they bring me such joy and happiness. And when I'm happy, she's happy.
Yes. Well, dogs make life better.
The best. I love my dogs.
I heard you having a conversation with somebody recently, and they went duck hunting without dogs.
Oh my God, how cruel is that? Don't ever leave your dogs home. And then they had to call somebody with a dog after the hunt and go, come fetch the ducks. You need to have dogs. When they bring back a bird, it's mystical. It's out of body. And in this horrible, toxic, ugly, evil world, you need all the happiness you can get. Yes. And dogs are the source of that happiness. I'm a happy man in October with Shemane, Jackson, Sadie, and Coco.
Well, I wanted to bring you in to talk about some unfortunate things that are going on in our world.
Yeah, everywhere.
Which, number one, is the ostriches in Canada. Your take on that. And then, of course, white-tailed deer and what they're doing in Texas by Texas Parks and Wildlife and Michigan DNR. So go ahead, take it away.
Well, bottom line is, I think we're all aware that the government hates independence. The government right now, the United States government, and even worse, if you can imagine, than the U.S. government, is the Canadian government, which are demanding a mandatory buyback, but it's not mandatory, except that if you don't turn your guns in, you're going to jail. They're literally disarming my friends in Canada. And it starts with things like an ostrich farm, which is a great source of meat. There's ostrich farms all over the country. It's a wonderful source of meat if you don't go deer hunting. But they were trying to get these jackbooted thugs from the Canadian government to go into this ostrich farms up in British Columbia and slaughter 400 ostriches that these people are connected with. Remember, whether it's cattle or sheep or horses or dogs or llamas or alpacas, these ranchers have the right to grow this natural organic food outside of government control. But luckily, they sided with the Native Americans, the Native Canadian Indian tribes, and they held back the Canadian government. But they're still confiscating guns. Why?
What is the reason that they wanted to slaughter all the ostriches?
There's no reason. They claim that there's an avian bird flu, but the ostriches were already tested. They are perfectly healthy. And that goes right to my dilemma. Well, actually, it's not my dilemma. It's the Michigan DNR's dilemma and the Texas Parks and Wildlife dilemma. Because Texas Parks and Wildlife, David Yakovich, you have no soul. You have no conscience. You are a power-abusing, oath-violating, bad man, just like every game department in every state. And I have the evidence to support these allegations.
Tell us what is going. You can get more of Ted's rants on his spirit camp.
Well, it's a rant. It's a rant.
But tell us why they're
back.
In which is what they're doing. But I want to explain to people why. There's no reason, but why are they going after the white-tailed deer in Michigan and in Texas?
Because they're liars and they're power abusers. They claim it's chronic wasting disease, which all science has concluded, not the guitar player's hunch or opinion, the science after gazillions of dollars of research that people cannot get chronic wasting disease from venison. Even if the deer has chronic wasting disease, more deer will die on American highways today than all chronic wasting disease cases combined. And they're slaughtering thousands, tens of thousands of beautiful, healthy deer claiming that they had a positive test on one. And then they come back after they kill the deer and they say, oops, it wasn't positive. I'm telling you, I have no obligation to obey immoral people, Texas Parks and Wildlife, or immoral people like Michigan DNR. And if you guys, David Yakovitz, if you want to debate me, come on my spirit campfire. Bring it on.
That would be the best show ever.
They're cowards. They have nothing. They're liars.
If you could actually get them to come on your show,
they won't.
And debate you, because it really doesn't make sense. What they were doing is slaughtering white-tailed deer in Texas, probably still are, then chopping off their heads and then testing them to see if they had chronic wasting disease, which they did not. So just like the ostriches, they're putting all of these, some are pets. Some of the ostriches were pets. Some of the white-tailed deer we know were pets that were bottle fed and part of the family. Who gives them the right to go and slaughter these animals? And shouldn't we be able to control our own wildlife management?
And David Yakovitch and Michigan DNR, here's the only test that matters. We kill the surplus deer on our property every year, and we eat them. Chronic wasting disease has always been in the ground. People have been eating positive chronic wasting disease forever. No one's ever got chronic wasting disease. It's always fatal. You don't know that. You don't know which deer have it and which don't. Well, and the ones that are still living and getting hit by cars and killed by hunters and killed by dogs and coyotes, they died of a natural cause. I'm telling you, every game department, I challenge all of you. I'm just a guitar player. Debate the guitar player on chronic wasting disease. They won't, because they have no spine. They know they're abusing power. They know I'm right and they know they're wrong. Shame on you.
Well, it's really gotten out of control. My thought is the only reason is they want to make us helpless and defenseless and take away our food source.
Yes.
And you know what? God bless you. If you want to have a roadkill, that's your choice. If you want to do that, remember the Beverly Hillbillies? They talked about that on their show all the time. Of course, we've gone on past that. But
no, we haven't. I haven't.
Who gives anyone the right to determine what we are going to ingest and whether it's safe or not? It's like Nancy Pelosi saying, you got to pass this bill before you can find out what's in it. And that's what they're doing with white-tailed deer and the ostriches. I know what your answer is going to be. It's just going to make you more upset.
There is no answer.
What is the end game here? They have slaughtered how many thousands?
Tens of thousands of deer across Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, mostly Texas Parks and Wildlife. Is there anybody on Texas Parks and Wildlife that has a conscience? Is there anybody on Texas Parks and Wildlife that has honesty anywhere in their system? Call me, take me on, tell me where I'm wrong. I've dared them to do that for months and months, for years. They still won't. David Yakovitz, you're going to lose, because we, the people, have private property rights and we can raise our own deer, and you got no power over us.
Well,
and they hate when I talk like that. I got them quivering in their boots. And if you're not afraid, call me.
I'm going to switch gears really quick.
Yeah, we better. We better for their sake.
And talk about something that is near and dear to both of our hearts. And
quality of life, yes.
Quality of life. Someone who has been out there like you on the front lines and speaking out and being bold and brave is Mike Lindell. And Mike Lindell was the first of cancel culture, and they've attacked him. They've attacked his business. He had to let go hundreds of employees, and all he wants to do is give you a good night's sleep.
And he wants election integrity. He knows that there was a scam throughout the election in 2020. Everybody knows that. Mike Lindell, you know how you can give the finger to power-abusing bureaucrats? Go to mypillow.com and type in the code
faith.
Type in the code faith, or type in the code spirit. And Mike Lindell, world-class products. We like to support those who stand up for freedom, for God, family, and country. And even though it's world-class products, we use all the MyPillow products. The dogs are on MyPillow beds right now.
They love the MyPillow. And the towels are
the best.
A big deal to me. And when we go to hotels, but we haven't lately. But when we did, and we get other hotels, I'm like, I like my big My Pillow towels and the sheets, and yeah, the dogs love the dog beds. But go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Faith, or I have my own number, Ted.
Wow,
You can
I'll call it
1-800-933-6972.
And if I may,
yes.
This Sunday night on Sirius XM on Ozzy's Boneyard, a great radio station on Sirius XM. I think I forget the number that it is, but I'm on with a guy named Meltdown, and I do a long extended interview about my fun rhythm and blues soul music career on Sirius XM on Ozzy's Boneyard this Sunday night at 7 p.m. Killer interview, lot of fire, lot of fun.
Well, that's tonight, because this is
that's right
Sunday.
Tonight.
So tonight,
Sunday
perfect
night,
timing.
Sunday night,
and then watch Ted's Spirit Campfire on Friday nights. I think it is Friday mornings, Saturday, Friday, yeah. Or you can go to realamericasvoice.com. And we're also, our son Rocco is taking clips from our shows and posting them on our social media.
Fascinating.
So it's a family thing. But thank you, Ted, for coming on and sharing.
I've got my dog whistle. I'm going to go hunting with Sadie and Coco and Jackson. And I love you people. Happy October. I love this woman so much. I owe her some venison, some natural, pure, organic venison.
I need some venison. Well, coming up, we're talking with Zen Honeycutt about toxins in our food like glyphosate.
Yikes.
Don't miss it. Stay tuned.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Now, you guys probably know already that I'm all about living toxin-free, and what you put on your skin really matters. I love Row Casa Organics. Everything they make is clean, natural, and non-toxic. I use everything: their face serum, their cream, their muscle balm, magnesium cream on my feet and Ted's feet at night, and their soaps. And, you know, if you're tired of the toxic Fresh Mountain scent in laundry soaps, you should be. Go to rowcasaorganics.com/Shemane and use the promo code Faith for a discount. My next guest is a woman who's been fighting for the health of our families for over a decade. She's the founder of Moms Across America, a national coalition of unstoppable moms who've created over 1,000 community events to expose toxins in our food and environment, from pushing Costco to remove Roundup to leading the first glyphosate testing in America. She's turned pain into purpose, and she's built a movement. Zen Honeycutt, welcome to Faith and Freedom.
Thank you so much for having me, Shemane. So glad to be with you and your guests.
So what sparked your mission to start Moms Across America? I've heard your story, and it's so moving. I hope I can get through this without crying, because I'm so glad that you're here, though.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, like millions of mothers and parents, I was struggling with my children's health issues. My children had life-threatening allergies, autism symptoms, asthma, autoimmune issues. And when we were fighting Prop 37 or working for GMO labeling in California, my eldest son, Ben, said that, you know, when we lost that labeling, that even Star Wars took 6 episodes, right? And I said, yeah, and they had Yoda. And I realized that we needed a new episode, one where I took on leadership. And so I came up with the idea of Moms Across America March to Label GMOs. We joined into 4th of July parades. My son, Ben, was right there beside me. He was the reason why I started Moms Across America. And although we have recently lost him due to him taking his life, we will continue on and raising awareness about toxins in the food supply that contribute not only to physical health issues and reproductive issues, but also to mental health issues, which I believe these toxins were the cause of his mental health issues and him taking his life. So he was the reason why Moms Across America got started, and he's the reason why we will continue. And I appreciate you giving me a chance to reach millions of people and raise awareness about the toxins in our food supply. And I have a lot to say about that and what the government is doing right now as well.
Well, to say that I'm sorry for what you're going through doesn't seem to even touch the surface, but it is something that should be on the forefront of everyone's minds. And you're right to talk about toxins. And I don't know if you know my story about toxic mold. Love to talk to you more about that, but this is your time, because I do believe that toxic mold can contribute to everything from allergies and skin rashes and headaches and migraines, which I suffered with, heart attack symptoms, and even depression. When you don't feel good, I went to too many doctors checking off the boxes. Are you depressed? Well, yeah, I'm here because I don't feel good, and that makes me depressed. Tell me about what was the beginning of the movement of Unstoppable Moms, and maybe talk about one success story that stands out for you.
Yeah, sure. Well, in that moment when I thought about taking on leadership, I, came up with the name of Moms Across America March to label GMOs. And we decided to join into 4th of July parades, which are easy, accessible, affordable. You just put some red, white, and blue on and join into a parade that somebody else has already organized. And so we did that, and 179 groups joined into 4th of July parades in July of 2013. And within 5 years, we had over 600 leaders that created over 1,000 events in all 50 states. And we believe that our moms have been at the forefront of shifting the food movement and the food marketplace from $20 billion in sales of organic to now $70 billion today. So I'm very proud of our moms. They were the ones that sent in their breast milk to get tested for glyphosate. They sent in samples for school lunches, water, tap water, urine, beer, wine, orange juice. We have tested so many different foods, not just for glyphosate now, but also for toxic pesticides, heavy metals, veterinary drugs, and hormones. And you can see all of that information on our website, and fast food as well, baby formula. And we're doing currently more testing now. So I'm very proud of our moms that have taken action and leadership in not just in their local communities, but for the nationwide community by sending in samples to get tested. We're essentially doing, I think, a better job than the FDA because we're exposing this information to the public, and it's all member, and donor supported individuals who care about creating healthy communities.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. Tell us about the Neighborhood Food Network. What is that all about?
Sure. That's a program that we started. We have a separate website for that, and it's solely focused on food and supporting people. The mission is to create national food security one street at a time. And that means want people to be supported in growing food in their front yards or backyards or rooftops, on their property. So it's not just a community garden, and to, saying like, I'll grow tons of tomatoes if you grow the cucumbers, or somebody else grows the sweet potatoes, and then you swap and trade. And so you're creating local food security without having to rely on any other type of big ag entity. And it's really fun. And I promise you, nobody cares whether you're a Republican or Democrat or vaccinated or unvaccinated if you come at them with a basket full of peaches, right? It is automatic connection and unity. And if there is ever an apocalyptic or a catastrophic event, you now have a partner rather than a threat, right, in your community to your food sources. You'll be then working together because you've gotten to know your neighbor based on, sharing food. It's really fun.
And it gives you a sense of accomplishment. I know in my gardens, like when I first see the little sprouts and going out in the morning when the blossoms, the squash blossoms only in the morning are opening up, I just got goosebumps. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. Like, yes, we can do this. We can take care of ourselves. We don't need the government to meddle in things and putting glyphosate in our food. I always say to my husband, I want to know the person who came up with that. Why would they be doing that? I mean, there's no end game other than to make us sick, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to address the accomplishment thing, because one of my Facebook profile photos for a while was me holding a yellow squash, like a trophy, and people were like, Zen, it's a squash. I'm like, yes, but it's my squash and I grew it. And so I do highly encourage people to start growing food, because it is such an immense sense of accomplishment, and you can share it. It's not like a fancy car that depreciates in value. It is something that appreciates in value, and you can share it. And it's really wonderful. And yes, you will know that you are not consuming glyphosate because you have not added it to your food. And I just want to say that it's not like they're adding it, to a basket, a box of cookies or something like that. It's on the crops. It's sprayed on GMO crops as a weed killer, like corn or soy or sugar beets or canola. And it's sprayed as a drying agent on crops such as wheat, peas, beans, legumes. So your bread, your hummus, your oatmeal in the morning, unfortunately, your beer will likely have glyphosate in it at pretty high levels. And that's because they're spraying the crop as a drying agent with glyphosate. And glyphosate is a carcinogen. It causes endocrine disruption, liver disease, kidney disease, nervous system damage. It causes damage to sperm. It androgenizes baby girls. And when exposed to the mother rats, the boy rats, the male rats had much higher levels of autism symptoms. So we're extremely concerned about glyphosate being used at the tune of 280 million pounds a year in our food supply, and the reproductive health, physical health, and mental health effects because of glyphosate.
Is there any way to just completely stop this? Like, can't we just say, all right, I don't want my tax dollars going for that?
Yeah, so we need to elect people who are going to put somebody in the EPA that will ban glyphosate. That's what it comes down to. Or because we don't have that right now, unfortunately, Trump, the pesticide company, got the ear of Trump, and he has people in the EPA right now that are extremely unlikely to ever do anything about glyphosate. But we can exert pressure on them. We can try to make some, negotiations with them. Moms Across America will be doing that very soon. We'll be meeting with them. But in the meantime, consumer pressure through purchasing organic is the best thing to do. If you purchase organic, you are sending the message to the marketplace: I do not want glyphosate in my food. I do not want GMOs, pesticides, all of these different toxins in my food supply. So the more organic you buy, the more that you are influencing the marketplace to shift. And we've already done that from $20 billion to $70 billion in just a little over a decade. That is a massive shift, and that is all consumer driven. And, the Newsweek put out a magazine about 2 years after we started with a picture of a mom in the front and with a grocery basket in a shopping aisle. And it said on there, "Farmers, meet your new boss." And that is the gist of what's happening in the American food supply today. If you buy organic, you're sending that message: hey, farmers, this is what I want to buy. I want organic.
I love that. Zen, will you stick around for one more segment?
Sure.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Did you know that we have two actual ages? Well, our actual age, I'm 63, and then our body's internal biological age, which I didn't know that I've likely been lowering my biological age without even knowing it. Here's the thing. Most of us, most Americans especially, eat too much processed food and not enough fruits and veggies. And we're talking with Zen Honeycutt in a minute. We're going to continue the conversation about removing toxins from our food. But it means a lot of us aren't getting the nutrition that we should be because we are eating bad food, fried food. And that ages us and it increases our biological age. It's like a ticking time bomb. But a major university study says there's a way to diffuse that bomb. People who drink Field of Greens actually slowed their aging without changing their diet radically or exercising radically. Every fruit and veggie in Field of Greens is doctor selected for specific benefits. Healthy weight is one of them too. So if you're looking to feel better and age slower, Field of Greens is where I would start. Swap your untested green drink for something that actually works. Check out the study and get 20% off with the code FREEDOM at fieldofgreens.com. That's fieldofgreens.com. And the promo code is FREEDOM. We're back with Zen Honeycutt, and this time we're diving deeper into, I want to talk about your book, Zen. Welcome back.
Thank you, Shemane. And first of all, I have to say, I cannot believe you are 63. You look like you're in your 30s.
Oh.
That is like mind-blowing information. Your guests should listen to whatever you say about your beauty regimes and your health protocols. So that's amazing. Yes, and I wrote a book. It's called Unstoppable: Transforming Sickness and Struggle into Health, a triumph, empowerment, and a celebration of community. And it's all about health and the food supply. It's really a community sort of effort. I have input from doctors, lawyers, scientists, farmers, reporters, and many, many moms have their testimonials in this book. And people have said it's kind of like a course on activism and the food supply, and it's brought people to tears. So I'm very happy that it's a moving book that is pretty timeless right now. So until there's a major overhaul of the food system, this book is still very, very timely for everybody. And I hope you enjoy it.
Well, this is threatening our health, our food supply, the chemicals in our food supply. And then there are chemical companies that are pushing for immunity bills so that they get protected from accountability. Even with new testing that shows glyphosate and herbicides are still contaminated our food and water. So what are the latest testing results showing? Are we making any headway?
Well, we were surprised. We recently tested 14 cereals in the United States and 7 cereals that were similar types because we tested organic and conventional here. But in the UK, Germany, and France, we tested the similar types, but not organic, just the conventional ones. So 7 from each one of those, thanks to our supporters for donating. And we were very surprised to find that the US had lower levels of glyphosate actually than the UK. The UK had extremely high levels of glyphosate on their grains. And when we investigated that a little bit further with the UK nutritionist, she said she believes that the higher levels of glyphosate on the UK grains were because they have been geoengineering the you-know-what out of the skies in the UK for about 2 years now. And geoengineering means, blocking out the sun is their mission there, and for these quote unquote climate change purposes. And when you block out the sun and you have a gray, wet, climate, they're going to spray more glyphosate as a drying agent to dry out those crops. So the UK currently has some of the highest levels that we've seen of glyphosate in their children's cereal, and that's particularly concerning. We also found chlormequat, which is a banned pesticide, in 11 out of 14 of the US children's cereals. And this is a toxic, reproductive damaging chemical found in our children's cereals that's been banned in the United States. And about only 5 pesticides have been banned in the United States since the EPA's started. So that says a lot about this particular pesticide. And the fact that it's being allowed in our grains, we believe is because in 2018 regulations were loosened and our EPA allowed chlormequat to come in through imports from other countries. So we're extremely concerned about the concept of foreign countries basically poisoning our children through chemicals in, the grains and children's cereal. And why would the US government allow this? I have to believe that somebody is seriously dropping the ball, doesn't know about this, as at the best case scenario. I mean, this is a, horrific thing that's happening to our children on a daily basis now, and hardly anybody is talking about it.
Well, I'm glad you brought up geoengineering, and I'm just going to say it, chemtrails, because we all know what's going on. We all see the lines in the sky, and it makes me sick. It's like we're trying to grow our own gardens. We're trying to be healthier, and they're poisoning us. And at what cost? And how do we stop that? So do you address that in your organization?
Not as much as I would like to. We're an extremely small organization, so we would love more support to be able to grow our team and to be able to address that. But we have been doing a lot of testing, and we believe the high levels of aluminum as well are indicative, indicate the impacts of geoengineering. So we're starting to connect the dots more and the impact. For instance, there's been some baby formulas that have had like 40,000 parts per billion of aluminum in there. And we can't figure out where that's coming from except from geoengineering, right? Because the packaging, same packaging, two different products, different levels of aluminum, and we believe it's the one that where the animals are outside eating grass, and perhaps that's where the aluminum came from, from the skies. So yes, we have a serious problem. We need to really speak up to our elected officials. There are many states right now that are banning geoengineering. There's a lot that's being done about that. So please look to the states like Florida and Tennessee that have banned geoengineering and look at the type of bills that they have and take action. We have a lot of different legislative things that are happening now. There's many states that are becoming MAHA states and taking action. And our new legislative arm of Moms Across America, we call it the Moms Across America movement. And the tagline is, "Yes, ma'am." We are championing policy and public servants who put children, health, safety, and America's future first. And we hope that everybody listening will support that endeavor as well and help get our moms to Washington, D.C. every month to speak up on your behalf. And you'll be on a special call with us for, strategy and the download of the information on what happened there if you support us with $30 a month. So we hope people will go to yesmamusa.org and check that out.
I love that. Rodney, I hope we can put that on the screen. Yesmamusa.org, you said?
Yes.
.org.
Yes.
That's what really is bothering me lately, because again, we can eat healthy and we still have chemtrails in the sky. And even states that banned chemtrails still have chemtrails. And I want to understand what the end game is here, because there's nothing good that can come out of this. And if you really want to talk about it, like they just want to kill us. They want us sick. And it's so unfortunate that the only thing that can happen, Zen, to change this is that enough of us are like Esther's. Esther 4:14 in the Bible talks about, if you remain silent, relief and deliverance may or may not come. But perhaps you were born for such a time as this. And I really do believe moms are the warriors. If you want something done, ask a mom, right?
Yes, I love that. I really think we need T-shirts, "You were born for such a time as this," because it really calls upon you to step up and step out and speak up. And, I don't like to focus on the concept of they're trying to kill us all, because that puts us automatically in a victim mode. And whether you believe in that or not. So I don't interpret other people's intentions. I don't like my intentions interprets. All I look at is the end results. And the end result is that there are chemicals being sprayed over us from the skies. There are chemical companies that are making a lot of money for doing that. So what we know for sure is that there are chemical companies and, regulatory agencies that are doing this and profiting from it. And that is enough for me to say, hey, this has to stop and we need to take action and it's time to speak up. So please, again, contact your senators and representatives about that. And if you have a small greenhouse, that is a great way to know that you're not getting those chemicals into your food. And washing them does help with some of those types of particulates. But for glyphosate, obviously you're not spraying that on your farm, but glyphosate drift is a major problem as well. So you can educate your local farmers if somebody's spraying glyphosate locally. We have a lot of flyers on our website that you can get access to and information that you can download. There's a recent glyphosate study by Ramazzini Institute that shows that glyphosate causes over 10 types of cancer. That might be a nice little thing to bring to your neighbor who's spraying glyphosate with an alternative. For instance, a company called Contact Organics sells a product called Firehawk, and it is a non-toxic weed killer. So bring them a little bottle of that along with the study on cancer, and you may convert your neighbor and reduce your exposure to glyphosate as well. We have a page called Under Action. It's called Toxin Free Town Campaign page, and there's a PDF on there with 10 alternatives to Roundup that has been downloaded over 100,000 times here in the United States. So there are citizens all across the country who are taking action to stop the use of glyphosate, and you can do that too.
Zen, thank you so much for joining me. What's that website again? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. USA.org is the legislative arm, and momsacrossamerica.org is where you'll find all of our educational outreach information. There you go.
Thank
the
you.
Moms Across
Thank
America
you so
movement.
much.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you for standing up and being bold and brave.
Thank you very much, Shemane. Take care, everybody.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Should have had Ted around to talk about this very most important topic, our dogs. You know, we love our dogs. They're not just animals, they're family. And after years of searching for clean, effective supplements for our dogs, we couldn't find any, so we decided to start our own. It's Uncle Ted's Natural Canine Supplements. They're powered by bioflavonoids, and that's a plant-based product to help our dogs stay sharp, strong, and healthy. We use them daily. Our pups do, and they're thriving. Head to getuncleteds.com and learn more. My next guest is a journalist who refused to bow to media pressure after speaking out about Charlie Kirk's assassination and refusing to portray him as evil. She was suspended from her position as an ABC News affiliate. She's worked with Turning Point in the past and has seen firsthand what happens when you stand for truth in an industry that wants to silence it. Benny Ray Harmony, welcome to Faith and Freedom.
Shemane, thank you for having me.
So you spoke out about Charlie Kirk's death, and how did that lead to your suspension?
So it all occurred on Friday, I believe it was September 12th. It was 2 days since the assassination, and I was grieving. You know, Turning Point played such an instrumental role in my life from when I was at Arizona State University in college. The whole reason I got involved in this political world is because I joined the TPUSA chapter at Arizona State. And so from starting there to then working for Jack Posobiec and Human Events Daily, and just being around these incredible activists and people that have taught me to stand up for truth no matter what. And for the past year that I had worked at WICS News Channel 20, I was just staying silent. I would get in trouble for reposting some things. If it had Donald Trump on it, I would get called into the office. And so when I decided to do this tribute, it was because genuinely I was grieving just like the whole world was. And I felt that it was my duty as a broadcaster to share that it was okay if you're grieving. It is okay. And if I could give a little piece of motivation by telling people to stand up for what they believe in, that's what I did.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you know this. I'm actually a Turning Point ambassador. I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest one. I have to be. But, I learned a lot from Charlie and how when I kind of debated him. When he first asked me to be an ambassador, I said, no, me? I'm old. Like, why would you want to have me? But his mission was to have a debate. Of course, he won that one. But why is it wrong for a newscaster in mainstream media to have that debate and have that discussion and talk about somebody who made a big impact on you, whatever side that they were on?
Yeah, and I think that's the big question, and I wish I knew, because it would have been different if I made a political statement in my tribute saying Democrats this and liberals this, but it was nothing like that. It was an emotional tribute, and it's honestly a little hard to go back and watch it because I can feel those same emotions that I was feeling in that moment. And I understand when you are a newscaster, especially for these affiliates and stuff, they really do want you to keep that very nonpartisan, unbiased viewpoint so that you can connect with all of the viewers in your area. And so I understand that. But I don't know where it comes in that it's wrong to honor someone who played an instrumental place in your life. And I stand by that. And I knew that was the moment that I needed to say something, and I'm unashamed of that.
Did they actually say what were the words that they said that you can't talk about Charlie Kirk, or you can't talk about conservative values or your faith? What can you share what they told you?
Yeah, they didn't give me any information. So my direct supervisor, he called me into his office on Friday afternoon. And so it goes him and then it goes our general manager. That's kind of how these affiliates are. And so he called me in. He said, I've been told that you need to remove the video that you posted. Well, said video was my Charlie Kirk tribute. And Shemane, just keep in mind, as a newscaster, we are encouraged to post all of our clips on social media. They tell us we need to stay active. And so I was doing just that. I posted that clip just like I post any other, segments that I did. And I don't know what made this one wrong. They wouldn't say it is the thing. I was told if you do not delete that video off your personal page, that there is going to be punishment. And I said, why? I'm like, they wouldn't give me any information. And I sat in my direct supervisor's office. I said, I'm not deleting the video. I didn't say anything wrong. And so then Monday came around that next week, and he called me into his office again. The person that was leading this charge of trying to get me to delete this video did not speak to me at all. Ever since my last day there, he never said a word. And so I got called in Monday before my show was to happen. And he said, I've been told to tell you, you are not to go on air today, and you won't be going on air until further notice. And in that moment, something snapped inside of me. I wasn't going to wait for them to fire me. I knew what I needed to do, and it was time to fight for the mission that Charlie fought for. And that's when I really made the decision to resign. I couldn't do it anymore, especially after something like that. I knew they would never treat me fairly.
Well, good for you. I'm sorry that had to happen, but I went to school of journalism and communications 45 years ago, a long time ago. I don't remember ever being told I started out doing newscasts on radio. I don't remember ever being told, don't say this or don't say that. And I think we should be able to present both sides. What do you think? I've got about a minute left. What do you think, Benny Ray, this means for the future of journalism?
Well, Shemane, I've gotten so many messages, pros and con messages, whether people support or not support me. But the things that have stuck with me the most is the messages from young journalists that I'm getting that are at other ABC affiliates and CBS and NBC. And they're saying, you are encouraging me to stand up for what I believe in, regardless of my profession, that I don't have to compromise those values to make others feel comfortable. And so I hope that this revival that we're seeing in America, I hope it encourages newsrooms across the country to share both sides, to allow all journalists' voices to be heard regardless. And I truly think we're waking up, and the American people are too. And I hope to see a shift.
Well, I'm so glad that you are doing okay, because it really could set a lot of people back. But now we have this wonderful thing, the internet, and we're able to do our own newscasts and be on Real America's Voice and share our true thoughts and feelings. Social media is another story, but what's next for you?
Well, Shemane, I am the brand new congressional correspondent right here at Real America's Voice in Washington, D.C. So you guys can catch me on Capitol Hill. I will also be filling in for Brian Glenn at the White House when he is out of town and things like that. So you are going to be seeing a lot more of me. I'm just ready to continue this mission and continue the mission that Charlie died for. And I'm just looking forward to these opportunities and just continuing this.
Well, Benny, thank you so much for being here, for being an Esther, for being bold and brave. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless.
Okay, we're going to end on a lighter note. Thank you all so much for joining me on Faith and Freedom. I really appreciate it. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram at Shemane Nugent, on Facebook at Shemane.Nugent, and YouTube. I'm doing more on YouTube as well. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to have a conversation. Sometimes these shows, we don't get to go back and forth, and on social media we can. So check out those links. Also, if you haven't already gotten your copies of my books, Killer House and Abundantly Well, they're both available on Amazon. Killer House is about my story. It's really why I'm here. because I almost died from toxic mold. And it caused me to become a fighter, a seeker, when no doctors could help me. And I had everything from migraines to heart attack symptoms. I ended up finding out I had 4 different types of mold in my bloodstream and also pre-emphysema, and I don't smoke. And that's my journey, Killer House. It's happening way too much. Studies show that 70% of homes or more have some sort of toxic mold. So check it out, how to recognize, remediate, and recover from toxic mold. Then what do you do from there? You get Abundantly Well, which is a 40-day wellness devotional, and get healthy, get back on track. It's meant for people who either they work out all the time or they've never worked out. I want to be, excuse me, I want to be your cheerleader. I want to walk alongside you, encourage you, motivate you to get healthier. And then there's a prayer every day. They're meant to be consumed in just 10 minutes or so every single day. Thank you all so much for being here. Remember, Esther 4:14 reminds us that if we remain silent, relief and deliverance might come from someplace else, maybe not. Who knows if you were born for such a time as this? I think so. God bless. I'll see you next week.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this.